I'm fine. Everybody else involved in the accident is fine. Nobody got hurt. I'm the only person besides the truck driver that ended up in the emergency room. And as far as I know, even that guy turned out to be okay. But I did wreck my car. I totaled my 2005 Buick LeSabre, and there's a lot of rumors surrounding it. So I want to address those rumors and dispel some of those rumors because some of them are so outlandish, I can't believe it. Um, So I'll start off by saying that I was traveling to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, driving my old junky beater car out here to film for my new travel channel, Boogie Travels. And as I was driving out here, just as I left Northwest Arkansas, and I was driving between Fayetteville to Fort Smith, I got the stupid idea to grab my phone and record myself driving because I wanted to share with you guys that I was able to make this trip again for the first time in 10 years. Now that I've lost the weight, I can fit behind the wheel, and I'm healthy enough to where I can drive for 12, 14 hours at a time and actually make the trip all in one day. Then, when I pulled over to fill up the tank, I posted that to social media and kept moving past Fort Smith into Tennessee and kept moving. Unfortunately, right outside of Lexington, Kentucky, I ended up in a car accident in which I totaled my car. I've told the story on Twitter, and I'll tell it to you again here very briefly. There was a gentleman driving a semi-truck, one of the big trucks, and apparently, according to the state trooper, that guy had a stroke, which caused him to swerve and block traffic. And if I wasn't there, I didn't see all the way up there where that accident took place. I didn't walk all the way up there to see myself. So I have to take the state trooper's word. But I guess there were a couple of cars that were involved in the accident up there because traffic was completely blocked. I came along a few minutes later. The car in front of me stopped, and unfortunately, because I was too close to the car, I ended up hitting the car in front of me and then getting clipped very little bit in the back with the car behind me. So the reason that happened is the point of contention. A lot of people think that I was on my phone because I had been on my phone 6 hours later. Some people have said me filming that video has caused the accident, but that's not possible because it was 6 hours later and 400 miles further, 300 miles further away. It was all the way from Fayetteville, where I filmed the video, between Fayetteville and Fort Smith, all the way over to Lexington, Kentucky, Lexington, Tennessee. So obviously that's impossible. Some people have said that it shows that I have a pattern of using my phone while I'm driving. And whereas I do use my phone for GPS, and I might even text from my phone using voice to text, for the most part, all I ever do is set GPS, set the phone down on whatever holder I have, and then just go on about my life because I've driven for 40 years. I'm not used to even having a cell phone. I don't always have my cell phone on me all the time. In fact, I don't even think my cell phone's in my pocket right now. I think it's over there charging. So I'm not addicted to cell phones. I don't keep them in my hands. I don't keep them in my pockets all the time. So to think that that's what caused the accident is silly. I'll tell you what did cause the accident is we all had to come to an emergency stop. Everybody in the pack of cars I was in was probably going a couple of miles over the speed limit. And then on top of that, I was too close. I was about 2 car lengths away from the car ahead of me, but I was not taking into consideration the fact that it was beginning to drizzle, which means the grease is coming off the top of the road, which means I was going to need more stopping distance, and I simply didn't have it. So, there's a lot of important lessons to learn here, and I think this is the most important lesson. I should have never been on my phone to begin with. Not because it caused the accident, because that's not what caused the accident, but because it's never a good idea. It's called distracted driving, and people have explained to me that distracted driving is just as deadly as drunk driving. Even though I knew I was on a road almost entirely alone, I was going down a straight stretch of highway, a road that I have driven maybe 1,000,000 times before, that's still not a good excuse. You should never be on your phone while driving. And if I had been on my phone while driving in this particular instance, in this accident, I certainly would have plowed directly into the back end of this car, and I might have killed myself, but more importantly, I might have killed the people in front of me. So here's the good news. The car in front of me ended up getting its back right tire smashed, and I ended up getting my left front tire smashed. And that's because I did react in time to at least not completely plow into them. When I realized I was not going to be able to stop in time, I jerked the wheel to the right so that I could go down into the ditch and hopefully just injure myself instead of injuring the people in front of me. And so instead of hitting them directly head on with my back into their front, I was able to make that judgment call, and hopefully, I was hoping that no one else would get injured. I was hoping even I wouldn't get injured, obviously. The good news is the car in front of me, nobody got hurt, nobody got injured. They went from the car wreck to a hotel and then rented their Enterprise rent-a-car in the morning and continued their day. And of course, all that's according to the state trooper. I don't know them personally, but this is what the state trooper told me. I ended up getting injured a little bit. My back is very, very sore. I mashed my left foot a little bit. I scratched my right leg a little bit, so it was bleeding and bleeding limp for a while. If you guys saw on Twitter, I ended up injuring my hand because the airbag burn ended up just while holding the wheel. When I jerked that wheel, and I guess it was down here on this hand, and this hand was here. That's what caused the airbag burn. And this was a huge golf ball sized blister for about a day. It finally popped. It's really gross underneath. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't want to gross you guys out. Maybe I'll put the original swelling into the video. I don't know. I've got my laptop so I can edit here, so maybe I will. That said, thank God that everyone was able to get up and walk away. I ended up in the emergency room. They ended up wrapping this. They ended up doing a bunch of tests to make sure I didn't have a fractured spine or anything. I am experiencing a tremendous amount of lower back pain, but the good news is I'm very much used to that, and I know it's going to heal because it's just muscular pain. It's been about 3 days since the accident now, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better, though yesterday I think was the worst day overall. So the entire point of this video, and the entire point of sharing the accident, clearly I could have not shown this accident. Clearly I could have not talked about it on Twitter. I chose to talk about it for 3 major reasons. The first of which, in that video, I didn't have my seatbelt on. Because I've always been so big and I never bought a belt extender, I was so used to never wearing a seatbelt. But because of that video, I shared that video and people noticed I didn't have my seatbelt on, and they said, get off your phone, put on your seatbelt. So when I stopped in Tennessee to get gas and saw this, I ended up putting on my seatbelt. And then just a short time later, 20, 30 minutes later, I was involved in an accident that put me into the ditch. And yes, my airbags went off, and yes, they did catch me, but I'm telling you, I'm so glad I had my seatbelt on because I might have ended up on the other side of that windshield otherwise. So you gotta learn, even if you're a big guy like me, even if your seatbelt doesn't fit you, there are ways, belt extenders, things that you can do to make sure you have your seatbelt on. Learn that lesson that I just learned so hard and I paid so much to learn. The second thing that I want to say is, even when you think it's safe to text back, even when you think it's safe to pick up your phone, even when you think it's safe to film a video, don't. Because it's not. Even if you're the only person on the road, it is entirely possible that by looking down, you could end up swerving off of the road or missing a turn or missing a curve. There's no amount of internet clout, no amount of social media points that could be worth you totaling your car or losing your life. So please learn from my mistakes. I will never touch my phone again if my car is in motion. Not to reset the GPS, not to answer a voicemail or a text, not to make a phone call. If I can't do it by voice commands, I won't do it, and that's how you should be as well. And then thirdly, the other major thing I want to say here is a lot of you guys have been tremendously supportive. A lot of you guys have been tremendously kind, and I genuinely appreciate it. There's another group of people who are very upset with me, though. And I want to make sure you guys understand. I have no ill will or bad blood. You should be upset with me here. Not for some of the reasons you think, like Boogie posted a video and that caused an accident, or Boogie was entirely at fault here, or he's lying about all of it. None of that crazy stuff. Like, those people are crazy. You can't fix crazy. But there are people who are mad at me because I was showing an example of someone who people might emulate using a phone while driving. And I'm telling you, the people who are upset about me doing that are correct. They should be. So please learn from my mistake. Please learn my lesson. Please do better than I did. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon. I think we're all very lucky that I'm still here. More importantly, I think we're all very lucky that the people I hit didn't get hurt.